All right, tonight we're diving into a story that starts out simple enough, a pizza delivery, but ends in pure terror. And let me tell you, this isn't just some made up campfire tale. This is the real story of a delivery that went horribly, horribly wrong. So, right off the bat, I want you to know this isn't fiction. This is based on something that actually happened to a college student named John. Just a regular guy trying to make a little extra money with a part time job. And honestly, knowing it's real, that makes it 1,000 times more creepy.
I mean, it really makes you think, doesn't it? We all do these routine things every day: drive to work, grab some food, deliver a package. But what happens when one of those normal, everyday trips suddenly turns into something you might not come back from?
Okay, let's set the scene. This entire terrifying story really comes down to one single decision. And it all started with a late night phone call.
So, picture this. It is 1 o'clock in the morning. John is wiped out. He's literally about to lock the doors to the pizza shop and just go home. And of course, just as he's reaching for the lock, the phone rings.
John picks up, and immediately the vibe is just off. The voice on the other end is trembling, it's shaky. You can tell the person is scared. But here's the weird part. Through that frightened voice, they place a massive order. 4 large pizzas. It just doesn't add up. So now John's got this dilemma, right? On one hand, hey, 4 pizzas is a huge order. That means a potentially huge tip, and he could really use the cash. But on the other hand, the shop's already closed, it's super late, and that weird, shaky voice is a major red flag. In the end, though, the money won. He decided to take the order. So the pizzas are made, and John heads out. And this is where the story really starts to shift from just kind of strange to genuinely scary, as he drives further and further out into the middle of nowhere. The address is way, way out on the edge of the city. And the more he drives, the worse it gets. The paved road turns to gravel, all the streetlights just disappear, plunging him into total darkness. And on both sides of the road, just thick, black, wild forest. He is completely and totally alone out here. When he finally pulls up to the address, this is the first thought that hits him. The house doesn't just look empty, it looks abandoned. Like nobody has set foot in there for years. No lights, no cars, nothing. Just this creepy old building sitting in the woods. You'd think arriving at the house would be the end of the journey. But for John, just getting out of his car was the beginning of the real nightmare. Now he's got to deal with this strange, silent house. At this point, his gut is screaming at him to just leave. He is genuinely scared. He pulls out his phone to call his manager, to try and get out of this. But of course, no signal. He's completely cut off. He's stuck. So he gives up, figures he might as well just drop off the pizzas and get out of there. And that's when the house seems to wake up. As he walks toward the porch, a single dim light just flicks on inside. He rings the doorbell. He hears footsteps inside, but nobody answers. He rings it again. Nothing. And then, just as he's about to turn around and leave for good, the front door just slowly creaks open, all by itself. The door is open. It's an invitation he can't refuse. So he goes inside. And now we finally find out what or who was waiting for him in that house. This is the encounter. So John very carefully steps inside this dim, dusty hallway. It's dead quiet. All of a sudden, a black cat shoots out from under a sofa and darts into another room. The second it does, the lights and the TV in that room switch on and he hears kids laughing and playing. At this point, he's thinking, okay, this has got to be some kind of weird prank. A little annoyed now, he walks into the room and he sees 2 little girls sitting on a bed. They're not saying anything, just staring at him with this really strange look. He tries to talk to them, ask where their parents are, but they just keep staring. And then it happens. Their eyes roll back, turning completely white. They break their silence with this horrible, piercing laugh, and they both raise their arms and point right behind him. He whips around, and standing right there, so close he could touch her, is a terrifying woman. And that's it. The illusion is shattered. This is not a prank. This is real. He screams, drops all 4 pizzas, and just runs for his life. He's out of the house, but he is not safe yet. The chase is on, and it's what happens next that leads John and us to the horrifying truth of what was really going on in that house. John just bolts. He sprints to his bike, gets it started, and peels out of there.
He dares to look back once, and he sees the woman and the two little girls just standing silently in the doorway, watching him go. He gets a few miles down that dark road, and his bike just sputters and dies, a flat tire. In a panic, he looks in his rearview mirror, and they're there, standing on the road right behind him. He ditches the bike and runs into the woods, hiding until he finally hears the welcome sound of police sirens. He tells the police the whole crazy story. They go back to the house, do a complete search, and they find nothing. No people, no signs of a struggle, no dropped pizzas. The only living thing in the entire house is a single wild cat.
But the police do have one piece of information for him, one detail that changes everything. They tell John that there couldn't have been anyone in that house because it has been officially vacant for the last 3 years. And then it all clicks into place. This is the horrifying truth. 3 years ago, a mother and her 2 young daughters lived in that very house, and 3 years ago, they were all murdered there. John slowly realizes he wasn't pranked. He had a run-in with the spirits of that family, still trapped in the place where they died.
As you can imagine, John quit his job the very next day. And according to the story, even years later, he is still completely traumatized by what happened that night. It's a memory he just can't shake. And that leaves all of us with one final chilling question. We know what happened to John, but the original crime, the murder of that mother and her 2 little girls that started this whole thing, well, that case was never solved. The killer was never caught. And maybe that's why they're still there.